Hey guys, it's Alyssa from AlyssaNalani.com. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, as you saw from the title, I'm going to be walking you through my Interleaved journaling Bible. I have been wanting to do this video for a long time. I've had this Bible for over 2 years. I bought it back in February of 2022, and I really wanted to do some kind of setup video, but it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do. It took me a while to even just get the guts to start working in it. I had to figure out how I wanted to set it up, what I wanted to put in here, what kinds of notes I wanted to take, all of that. And so it wasn't a one and done situation. It really took some time. The progress took some time. And by the time I did sort of have a working system, I figured I should probably live in it for a while too before I, do a video on it. And so 2 years later, here we are, and I finally feel like I have some substance to share with you. Now, in case you have not seen one of these before, this is a journaling Bible Interleaved edition. It's the ESV, published by Crossway. And like I said, I bought this back in 2022. Currently, there are 2 different cover options that you can choose from. There's this one, which is the imitation leather. It's called the True Tone Mahogany with the mosaic cross design. Then you also have a real leather-bound version that has the cover that kind of wraps around the Bible with a strap that goes around. And that's a really lovely option. It's significantly more expensive because it's leather-bound, which is totally understandable. But if you're thinking about sort of making this kind of project like a legacy piece where you might want to, pass it down to your children, then the leather-bound would definitely be a really great option. But both are beautiful, both are viable options. Thomas Nelson also publishes an Interleaved Bible in the New King James Version. And so if you're interested in that, that's another option that's available to you. I will say though that the pages in the NKJV are a little bit thinner. And so I'm going to assume that this Bible is going to be thicker because the pages are thicker. I don't have one to show you. I gave one to a friend of mine years ago because she wanted that translation, and I noticed that her Bible pages were just a little bit thinner. Not that you can't take notes and do all the things you're supposed to do in an Interleaved, but I'm going to assume that the pages will just not hold up in the same way as they will in the ESV. So those are just some things to consider if you're looking at getting an Interleaved. Those Bibles are linked down below in the description box along with everything else. So everything that I'm going to show you, if I can link it, it is linked in the description, and you can check those things out. And if I've forgotten anything or you can't find something, feel free to leave me a comment and I'll be happy to help as best as I can. Okay, so I'm itching to open this up for you, but just a couple more things before we get started. Number one, this isn't going to be a review video. So I'm not reviewing the Bible. I'm sure there are other people who have done that work beautifully, and you can check out those videos. But in this video, I want to focus on how it's been working for me, how I've set it up, what I've been doing, those kinds of things. So just so you know, that is the expectation. Also, I want to give a shout out to Faith from How to Faith a Life, because she's the one who introduced me to the concept of an Interleaved Bible and how she uses it. I have taken so much inspiration from her work. And again, I mentioned that I got this Bible 2 years ago and I've been working in it for that long. And so it's been a while since I have binged her content on her Interleaved, but man, I binged hard on her Interleaved Bible content. I wanted to know all the things. So if you have not watched Faith's channel and you're interested to see more, you're interested to see somebody who's been working in one for longer than I have and who's done more in hers than I have, then definitely check out her channel. She's linked down below. And yeah, just get ready for some really great Bible related content. So just shout out to her and just the inspiration that she gave me to even start this kind of project for myself. All right, I think that covers all the bases. We have laid the foundation, set the table, so to speak. Okay, let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and open this up. You'll notice as we get to the inside cover that there's a bit going on here. One of my sticky notes doesn't want to be sticky anymore. I'll fix that here momentarily. But here on the inside cover, some of this was planned, some of it was just kind of spontaneous. I don't remember how long it took me to start doing this once I got the Bible, but at some point I decided that I wanted to use scrapbooking paper to cover the inside cover. So I did that in the front and the back. And I just picked this floral that I really liked and put it in the front. I'll use this sticky. And then in the back, I chose this polka dot, and they don't match. I was not going for any particular aesthetic. I did not need it to look any one way. I just picked things that made me happy. And so that's what I did, and I really, really like it. As you can see, the tabs don't match in any way. I mean, there's some purple in here, some purple and like this peach color and this light pink color, but I didn't do that intentionally. When I got my tabs, I was thinking about how it would look with the outside cover. So this is what I was thinking about. I was not thinking about what it would look with this inside cover. I did not care. So I say all that to let you know that if you're overthinking this kind of project and you're like, oh, what's it gonna look like? Or I need to make sure that everything matches. You can do that if you want. I mean, like no shade on that. But if it's going to keep you from just moving forward, then I would rethink the urge to make it look perfect. And I know we live in a world where everything is about an aesthetic, but I mean, honestly, just pick things that make you happy. Honestly, just pick fun patterns if that's your thing, pick fun colors that you love, but don't overthink it and think like, but I don't have my tabs yet, or I haven't figured out if I'm going to use this highlighting code, or I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't overthink it, because then you'll just be stuck in analysis paralysis and never get anything done. So the patterns that I chose for my inside covers had nothing to do with my tabs, had nothing to do with my highlighting code. None of it really matches perfectly, and I don't mind. I don't mind at all. All right, so then what you'll see is I have like this random writing everywhere, and these are just song lyrics. And oftentimes, it's most often when I'm sitting in church. Sometimes I do bring my Bible, my big Bible to church. Not always, because it is really big. But sometimes I'll be sitting in church and a song will come to mind, or somebody will say something that will, trigger a memory of a song that I really like, and I will just jot down a part of the lyrics. And as you can see, there's like no rhyme or reason. I have totally messed up. Can you see the whiteout there? And there's like whiteout here. Whiteout is my best friend because I mess up all the time, and it does become a little, I don't know, problematic might not be the right word, but it's not the best look because this is cream colored paper and my whiteout is white. So you can definitely see it, but it's just part of the journey and the process, and I have chosen to not let it bother me. So I have lyrics written on the title page. I tipped in a page with lyrics, and I've got sticky notes with lyrics. I've written lyrics right on the scrapbooking paper. So yeah, it's not everywhere, but I used this blank space to do that. And so I still have space here to fill up. I've got space here to fill up, and even back here if I want. I can tip in more pages if I want. I have tipped in more pages. You'll see them as we move forward. It's just something that I like to do. Also, you'll notice, I just have to mention this, you'll notice that my page here is stained. It looks really ugly. But what had happened was I have a leather cover that my parents gave me for Christmas. So it just wraps around this Bible. It is linked below. I don't have it on me at the moment, but it's a beautiful leather cover and I really like it. But I was not thinking this all the way through. Leather does stain. So it did stain my page here and it stained here. So if you're going to use a leather cover, I would advise that you create some kind of barrier, like a, what do you call the thing? I don't know why I can never think of this word, but it's like this. Like I have my planner here. What is this called? Flyleaf. When I see it, when I see it, I remember it. Create some kind of like flyleaf with some scrapbooking paper or some, I don't know, some vellum, or not vellum, but like acetate maybe, so that, the leather does not stain your papers. So that's just pro tip from experience. I do need to take this out and write it on another piece of paper so it looks a bit cleaner. This I can't fix, but that's okay. All right. Oh, before we move forward, let me go ahead and fix this situation. Yeah. Sometimes I put things on sticky notes because I don't necessarily want it permanently affixed to a spread, but I'm going to go ahead and do this permanently. Yeah, I really like that line. How would I know the morning if I knew not midnight? Great, great lyric. That's from a song called Sunrise. I think it's called Sunrise by Nicole Nordman. Great song. Okay, now we can get into it. So we have all of our preliminary information, table of contents, intro, preface, explanation of features. I do recommend that, especially if you're not terribly familiar, or used to reading the translation that you're about to work in, and this goes for any Bible, it doesn't matter, if this is interleaved or whatever, do read the preface to your translation, because this is the note from the translators to the reader, how they translated, what philosophy they used, and all of that. It's important information, and I know it might seem boring, but it's just really good information to have, and they put it there for a reason. So I just recommend that you read it if you've got some time. Also, this is just something fun that you might consider. In your table of contents, you might use this to color code the genres of the books of the Bible. I'm not going to go into all of that, but each book of the Bible is a particular genre, and you could set this up as a color chart for that. And you could do a couple of things with that. So let's say that you color coded this based on genre, and then whatever book of the Bible you're in, let's say that you're going to study through the book of Numbers, okay? You could use whatever genre Numbers is. Let's say it's green. I'm just pulling that out of my hat. But let's say that it's green. You could use a green like colorway or like color palette, and only use that color palette in Numbers, and have that be the way that you're sort of acknowledging the genre. Or you could just use it in the title. You know how some people like write the book name above it or whatever? I am making less and less sense as I talk. I'm so sorry. But basically, you could use the color in the title. If you wanted to create like a fun title for the book, you could do that and then do it in that color. Does that make sense? Okay, we're going to move on because I think I botched that, but you get the idea. So you can color code the books of the Bible if that's something that you're interested in. And the table of contents would be the perfect way to do that. And you're just acknowledging that each book is a particular genre, and it's just a really great way to sort of track that. Okay, let's move on. So we're going to go through all of this, and let me show you the first thing that I have tipped in here. Now, this is a biblical timeline from the Life Application Study Bible. This is available online to download and print. It's completely free. It's linked down below, and you can just size it if you need a different size, and print it out and then tip it in. I even rounded the corners so that it would match the rounded corners of my Bible. You can do all kinds of things. Now, what I really like about this timeline, even though in all transparency, I don't reference it very often, but I do like having it here. I'm glad I included it. You have your timeline that it's kind of like it's in three parts. So you have in the middle, you have like the different eras of the biblical story, and the eras are color coded. And this goes along with, at least in their chronological Bible, this goes along with how they've ordered the chronological Bible and how they've set it up in the chronological Bible. Anyway, it just goes along with the whole pattern that they've got in there. This middle part takes you through the different eras of the biblical story. So you've got beginnings, God's chosen family, the birth of Israel, and then I would flip it this way to continue: possessing the land, united monarchy, splintered nation, and so forth. So it takes you through that. And then on the bottom part of the timeline, you have the different biblical events with dates. So you have Noah building the ark. It's undated. We don't know exactly when that happened. And you have all of these different dates down here that take you through all of the biblical, or a lot of the main biblical events. Then at the top, you have a timeline of world events. So what was happening on the world stage while all of this was going on? And I think that's really helpful to have, because The Bible didn't happen in a vacuum, and this history isn't the only history that was happening, obviously. But sometimes I forget that, and I'm not exactly sure where I am in world history when I'm in, a particular story in the scriptures. So this is really helpful. I believe I've got two versions of this. I found two versions of this online, and so I have both of them linked, and so you can do with those as you will, but this is kind of fun to have tipped into my Bible. The next thing I have tipped in my Bible is this beautiful overview of the Old Testament. You may recognize this if you watch or listen to Bible Project. They've got a fantastic resource library, which includes these gorgeous posters. They call them posters. These are from their Bible overview videos. If you've never watched them, I highly, highly recommend them. They're really fun. And I will watch one of these every time I'm about to study a book of the Bible. So whatever book I'm about to be in, I will watch the intro video, the overview video, to get myself acclimated and oriented to what I'm supposed to expect from that book of the Bible. So what I decided to do is tip in every single overview poster for each book of the Bible, as well as the one that they have for the New Testament and the Old Testament. So it's a lot of tip-ins. I'll talk about that here in just a minute, but I really, really love this. This is probably my favorite feature that I've added to my Interleaved. So here's the Old Testament one, and then here is the Genesis one. And it just gives you a really clean overview of the Bible. You kind of have to watch the video to kind of get a sense of all of this, but it's just really nice to have as reference. And what's really fun is that when people see this at church, they think I've got comics in my Bible, and they think that it was meant to be like, that it came like this, like, oh, you've got comics in your Bible, like, where'd you get that? And it ends up being kind of a fun interaction. Like, no, I put them in myself. So anyway, I have one for each book of the Bible. And as we get into the first few books, as we get through Torah and all of that, you'll see I don't have many notes. I've got my little tip-ins, but I don't have many notes at all because I just haven't done extensive work in these chapters yet. So we get to Joshua, Judges. They're so fun. I love looking at these. Ruth. And then we get to 1 Samuel. And this is the first book that I started working in. We were studying 1 and 2 Samuel in Club 119, and I just decided to dive in. So I've got my little overview poster, and as you can see, I've got my color code going, and I'll talk about a bit about that later. I think I mentioned this earlier. It did take me some time to get comfortable, and I did just have to go for it. I had to not overthink it and just go for it and not worry about, well, is this going to look like what I see on social media? Is this going to you just have to do it. And so anyway, I'm just going to show you some of the things I have in here. So this extra page does give me an extra page, right, to either write. You'll see in other tip-ins that I've written on the backs of some of these. And so this one is just a piece of paper that I have some commentary on. I don't remember where it comes from, but anyway, I've got some notes. I've got some stickers that I created for our Bible study in Club 119. My stickers are exclusive to the Club 119 membership, so if you're interested, that's where they came from, and that's how you can get them. Sometimes it's just like scrapbooking pieces. So this is like a piece of a scrapbook cardstock, I think, and just washied that in. I tipped in, sometimes I'll tip in a cross-reference. So this is from Numbers. And so I added that in because it was relevant to the text here in Samuel. Some spreads are not completed. Like I started it and I still got space here. You're going to see that a lot where I have things started and not completed, or I've got sticky notes that are just kind of hanging out there waiting to be processed. So there's a lot of just things that are not finished, and I don't mind because I need to do it when I have time. I don't need to pressure myself to complete it at any particular time. I've also tipped in this map, these map pages. So the map is here, but the locations are here. I got this from my Life Application Bible. So I just made a copy and then popped it right in there. And I've got more, lots of empty pages. You'll see this as I go through. Sometimes I'll start really strong, and then because this is a time-consuming project, sometimes I just won't get to it as far as like recording the notes here. Now, the thing about that is I'm not writing just random stuff. So it's not that I didn't take notes at all. I probably jotted some stuff down elsewhere. What I wanted here is the stuff that I want to come back to. The best way I can describe it is that I'm creating my own little study Bible situation where I'm putting in the commentary and the notes that I want to have there permanently, not the things that are sort of transitory. I hope that makes sense, but I'm really intentional about what I ink in here because it's going to be there forever and I want it to be there forever. Now, that doesn't mean I do this perfectly. Originally, I had thought, well, I'm just going to keep this at home because I want to develop this as my study Bible and I don't want transitory notes. But then I was like, sometimes I do want to sit in church and jot down a thing or two. And so, it's not a perfect science, it's just what I feel to be useful in the moment. But I say all that to say that it's not all filled up just because I've gone through the entire book. So there's that. All right, so that's 1 Samuel. Then we get into 2 Samuel. And I have studied both books twice, and still not all my notes are in here. And that's fine. You don't have to fill it up all at once or right away. Random stuff that will get processed at some point. Okay, so that was the first book or two books of the Bible that I went through in this Bible. I've also done, and I'm not going to flip through the entire thing because there's really not a whole lot to show in a lot of areas. Let's see what else we have here. We did do Lamentations in Club 119. So I got some notes on Lamentations, some highlighting. As you can see, I did add my tabs much later than when I started using this Bible. So it did kind of cover the sticker, which is fine. I've got stickers just paper clipped here because I wasn't ready to commit them anywhere. So they're just kind of hanging out, waiting for assignment. Okay, so this is something else I started doing. This is just lyrics from a song by Bethany Dillon called Feast of Your Faithfulness. Let me talk about paper really, really quick. So this is 32-pound paper. This is thicker paper. I do not recommend tipping in a lot of the thicker paper. Even if it's 28-pound or 24-pound, I suggest more often than not use a thinner paper. So all of my overview posters are printed on Tomoe River paper, which at the time I started this, Tomoe River paper, that's a mouthful. Tomoe River paper was being discontinued. And I thought that it was not available anymore. So in the description, you will find a couple of options. If you search for Tomoe River paper on Amazon, you can find it. And I believe you can find it from a couple of other vendors as well. But anyway, on Amazon at least, you can get it loose leaf in A4 size, which is wonderful. I think I might grab some next time I can. So that is an option. However, one thing to keep in mind, since it was discontinued back a while back, I don't remember when, but since it was discontinued, it has the rights and the formula for the paper have been purchased, as I understand, by another company and is being manufactured again. I did read one review that said that there are differences between the two, the original and this newer version, but it's a viable option to use. So I just wanted to say that because people ask about this paper and where can I get it. I don't know the availability of the paper that I originally bought. I believe there is still some original Tomoe River paper. I'm going to call it TRP, okay, because that's a mouthful. There is some original TRP out there still, I believe, as I understand, and now somewhere out there, there's some new TRP out there, just made by a different company. I also included, because I've purchased it already, I also included the link to some other completely different paper that is thin. It's also thin like TRP, not quite as thin, but it is thin. So if you're looking for options to use in your, whether that's the Interleaved or any other Bible you'd like to add tip-ins to, you've got a couple of options in the description box. So I just want to let you know that, because if you're going to be tipping in multiple pages, like I've got like 68 of these, 68 tip-ins, and that's just these. I'm also tipping in some other things. So if you're going to do some high volume tip-ins, then you're going to want to keep your paper quality as thin as possible. Just pro tip there. However, I did sort of splurge on thicker paper for some of my my lyric tip-ins. So this is 32-pound paper because it's so buttery and soft and I love it. And I'm just gonna deal with it as I go. Because what's gonna end up happening is it is going to it's going to impact the integrity of my binding. At some point, if I keep doing this, I am going to have to get this rebound. So again, just keep that in mind as you are working in your Interleaved or any other Bible that you're using if you're adding in pages. All right, another set of lyrics, another set of lyrics, some that I wrote down on the back. And yeah, I really liked the way Lamentations turned out. I obviously have some stuff that I got to process and ink on the pages or just organize. Anyway, so that's Lamentations. What else did we do? Jonah, I think this was not a Bible study we did in Club 119. Those are notes that I think I took in church. This is Habakkuk, because we did do Habakkuk in Club 119. So those are my notes and highlights for that. We also did Zephaniah. I did not complete my notes in Zephaniah. There's a lot of work yet to be done in this book, but we did do that. And then we come to Romans, which we did do in Club 119, and I'm going to be doing it again. I'm leading the women's Bible study at my church, and we're going to be doing Romans. So I'll get another pass through this. Here's another song that I put on vellum this time. I wanted to try something different, so that's been working out really well. And so since I get a second pass through Romans, I will get another opportunity to hopefully organize some of these notes and make more. It is highlighted pretty thoroughly, fairly thoroughly, but I do want to start working on some more of these notes. So that is Romans, one of my favorite books in the Bible. Now, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yes, let me just demonstrate this really quick. So I saved this special because I knew one of these days I was going to do a video, and I just wanted to demonstrate how I tip these in because I have not finished my New Testament posters. So we're going to go to the book of Mark. Mark has no poster. I did print these out a long time ago, and they're just patiently waiting to be used. I do have a corner punch that I use for times such as these. Hello, there we go. I use the larger punch. And then, this is so easy, you guys. If you've never tipped in, welcome. Welcome, welcome. The water is great. Okay, so glue stick. I don't use like the children's stuff because it doesn't stick for a long period of time. I use the Craft Bond. It's like extra strength or whatever. I'm not sure, but it's it's really strong stuff. And so all you do is you take your glue stick and you can kind of see the marks. Can you see that? Is it gonna focus for me? I don't know. All right, so you're gonna use your glue stick and you're just gonna run it along the edge of the paper you're looking to tip in. And you have to turn your glue stick every once in a while because you're creating these little grooves in the stick and you don't want to, run it all the way through. So turn it all the way, or turn it every once in a while rather. And I just run it across, give it several passes in my glue stick. Okay. And then I'm going to position it. Now, my pages didn't all come out exactly sized, so I just have to, you know, in other words, it may be straight across here, but when I fold it down, it might like not be straight all the way through. I didn't cut them very well, is what I'm trying to say. So you just kind of, you see I'm kind of like moving it back and forth. I'm trying to like get it into the binding, into the seam there. Is it called a seam? I'm not sure what it's called, but that little space. Try to get it in there nice and tight. Okay, make sure it's centered the way you want it. And it's not. Okay, you know what? This is losing. We're losing the end. We're gonna do this again. Sometimes it doesn't go in the first time. Sometimes you need to put more glue, and that's okay. The last one I did stayed in really, really well, but sometimes it needs a little extra help. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. You can hear my nails squeaking on the pages. Okay. I think that's it. Carefully fold it over. Okay, now I'm going to close it just to kind of put some pressure. Now, I've had this for 2 years. These tip-ins, most of them have been in for quite a while. And so far, I've only had to fix one. Only one has come out, so I had to re-glue it in. And so, I mean, that's pretty good for a lot of tip-ins. Let's see, where are we? Mark. This should stay pretty well. Sometimes I just kind of pull a little bit just to see, and we're good. And that's how I tip stuff in. Now, sometimes I will reinforce with tape. So like you can see here, this was taped in. I just used Scotch tape to fix it in because it was in the beginning of the Bible. There's not a whole lot of, you know, you guys, I don't know what this is called, but there wasn't like anything to like tuck it into. Does that make sense? Oh my goodness. Anyway, so I taped it in. So you can do both, but here it's much easier to just glue it in and then close it up and let it do its thing. So anyway, that's how I tip in pages. Oh, we also have the book of John. I did put John in because we did John in Club 119. That was our last study, and all my notes are not in here. You're gonna see it's like empty and I've got random stuff because I have not inked everything in, but yeah, anyway, John was a really great book to go through in Club 119. Okay, let's talk about the back here just for a moment. I also have this tip in. This is not a freebie. I got this from a bundle for teaching. So it's just a Bible reading checklist, and you can check off the books of the Bible as you read them. I do have a free one on my website, so you can check that out if you're interested. But yeah, this is not a freebie. I had to pay for it. But yeah, I do have a free one if you're interested in something like this. But I did just tip it in because I had it. All right, let's talk about the back here. So I have a sticky pocket from, I think this is Target Dollar Spot, and I just stuck it back here. And you can keep like bookmarks or little anything, stickers, anything you want. I could even put one up on the top if I wanted to keep shorter things. But yeah, so I just have a little Target Dollar Spot pocket. I was able to say it, yay. And then I also have this little card that I tipped in, but on the opposite side so that it folds out. And this is my color code. And the reason why it folds out is so that if I'm in a book of the Bible, I can fold it out and it's right here. I can reference it in case I'm forgetting which color I want to use. So it's just a handy little tool that I popped in here so I could have on hand at all times. The other reason why I really love having this little flap, this little extra flap, let me see if I have it. Where did I put it? Hold on. Okay. Had to reach the whole other side of my desk. The other reason why I like this flap is because I can use it to sort of tuck in my little resource guide. So I have this is not the final cover, I don't think. This was one that I had to edit a while back, but it basically looks like this. This is the Bible reading quick start guide that I have on my website. It's free, and you can just print it off, fold it, and then you can tuck it in the back of your Bible. Whatever Bible, it should fit most of the regular sized Bibles. So you can just tuck it back there. And so this just kind of keeps it in place. So I do like that. I also have my Bible study quick start handbook, which I don't have anywhere around me. I need to print another one. But that one can be tucked back here too. So the Bible study quick start handbook, this is a lot of words, you guys. I'm almost done. The Bible study one is in my shop. The Bible reading one is a freebie. So if you want either of those, you can check them out. And those would be resources that you can put in the back of your Bible, if you so choose. Okay, now that is the complete tour, such as it is. And there's one more like note-taking process. Oh, I didn't explain this. I'm sorry. Okay, so I have my color code for my highlighters. Okay, so these are the highlighters that I use, and this is what I am marking. Okay, I did have to add one later on because I decided, let me just include where the Bible explicitly talks about the gospel. So I added this peachy color. So that was a later addition, as you can see, and I'm pretty sure, now that I think about it, did I update that? Okay, before I'm done with this video and before I post it, I'm going to check to see if I've updated my color code so it includes this. But what I also have at the bottom are colors for translation notes, study notes, and personal application notes. These are for pens. So I have Pigma Micron pens in blue, green, and purple. And I use those pens to write down these kinds of notes. So if there's a difference in translation, for instance, if I'm using another Bible and there is like a different translation, there is, oh, here we go, perfect. So another translation will have a different word choice, or I'm looking up what it says in the concordance or whatever. I will write it in blue, okay? So you can see here in blue, there are these translation notes. If I'm doing study notes, so this is just observation type stuff, this is what this means, this is what was happening, here's some context, that kind of thing, then it goes in green. You can see there. And then if I'm applying anything, right, personal application goes in purple, if you can see it down there. So that's how that works. That's why there's a lot of color going on potentially on any given page, because that's what I'm doing. So again, you can find this on my website, it's linked below, and you can use the colors that I have, or you can use, whatever colors that you decide. You can customize it to your liking. Also with my tabs, I did mention that I chose them later on. It took me a long time to commit to tabs because, basically once they're on there, they're on there. But I got these on a shop, or from a shop called, oh man, I might butcher it, Chosen and Cherished, maybe? I randomly found them. But yeah, I got it from them. At the time of this recording, I think they're on sale. I'm not even going to commit to that. Do not quote me on that. They were on sale at some point. I don't know if they currently are. So they are linked below if you're interested. I love choosing Bible tabs. I really love the tabs from the Daily Grace Co. They've got some beautiful options. That's where I usually get my tabs. Mr. Penn has some nice options. And then the Chosen and Cherished shop has some nice options. So all of that is linked, and you can shop some tabs if you need to add some to a Bible. I think that is it. I think I've showed you all the things. That's the tour, such as it is. There is one more thing that I want to start doing in this Bible as far as note-taking. So you saw my code, you saw my process. or my method for note taking. There's one more thing I want to add, and that is for organizing study information. But that is going to require another set of tools. So let me just give you a sneak peek at what I'm talking about. I'm going to start organizing some study information and using another code in this Bible, but not just in this Bible alone. I'm going to be using this in conjunction with my new note-taking system. That's all I'm going to show you. If you've been with me for a while, you may remember I've done a couple of Bible study bullet journal videos, and I have come up with my third iteration, and that's all I'm going to say. You'll have to wait for the next video. I'm really, really excited to share what I've come up with and how this has developed and how I'm going to be using this in conjunction with this. So if you have any questions so far, please feel free to leave them for me. And again, check out the description box if there's anything you're interested in. Look out for this next video on my note-taking system. And yeah, I think that is it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, a fabulous week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.